Good morning. And how are you? I'm glad to be on your screen one more time this morning. My name is Rose, and I just love talking and encouraging and challenging us. And today I am not preaching, I'm not talking on any topic in the Bible, but last night there was a trail um, on Facebook with some of former colleagues, and what came out so strongly was the toxicity that was in the place where we worked in at that time. And from the trails, I could still feel and read pain, um, hurt, um, anger, and that has brought me to the point that I want to ask us, when we are given positions of leadership, how do you handle your position? Is that the time to prove yourself that I am the boss now? Because if you're that kind of a leader, then you don't deserve to be a leader. And I tend to believe that when you grow into leadership gradually, then you learn to appreciate leadership. Because when you're that kind of a leader, when you're a toxic leader, then you will make people give up on probably what they were meant to be doing, but because of your toxicity, they will opt to leave and pursue other areas in their lives. And I want to address us nurses, because as a nurse in charge, what is your role? You're not supposed to be walking in the ward with a whip. You're not supposed to be walking on that ward and trying to prove to everybody that you're the one in charge. Your role as a nurse in charge is to guide, is to teach, is to direct, is to mentor. But unfortunately, one or two that we had at that time was a terror to everybody else. And I remember when I went into that I remember when I went to that floor, and we had the horrors that used to happen on that floor. I remember telling God that, God, I will not shed a tear for this person. And if there's anybody to leave, it is her who will leave, and I will not leave. And why was I saying that? Because I am a child of God and I know my position. So no one was going to make me leave simply because they want to prove that they are the bosses. No. And you cannot be a boss without subjects. So learn to treat your subjects well. In this day and age, you don't need to be authoritative. To who? To this generation. Utaachiwa word. We are mothers, and we know that when you want to be that father that some of us had those days, who ruled with a whip, my friend, you'll be having low-comers in your ward every day. And you'll tell me the care that your patients are getting. One day you'll find yourself in the ward, yourself, to manage those patients and to do everything in that ward. So as a nurse manager, have some leadership skills. Some of us landed into management simply because we knew who is in charge, who is ruling the hospital or the organization that we are working in. But really, leadership skills, wanting. And you can be taught to be a good leader. And when I say that, I want to appreciate, excuse me, I want to appreciate one Dr. Wanjala that I worked under. At least by the time I was leaving that establishment, we had been taken to Strathmore. We had learned leadership skills. We had learned management skills. So if you're a leader and you have no leadership skills, my friend, you're killing your hospital. You're killing your ward. And if you are a nurse manager who loves to listen to gossip, to grapevine, take your time and know your nurses. Take your time and know your staff. And I'm saying that because some of us were once accused of such things that you actually go and ask yourself, was that me that they were talking about? Because you as a nurse manager, you have not taken time to know your staff well. You rely on grapevine, rumor mongering. You rely on having people around you to make you feel good. And then you end up punishing the nurses who actually work in that ward. Because in my years of being a nurse, I have learned that there are some of us who work with our mouths, and there are some of us who really work. So you as a nurse manager, take time and learn your staff. Take time and know your patients. Take time and understand your staff. In this particular ward, in fact, after we had answered one another, by the time I was falling off to sleep, I remembered 3 nurses. And I don't know why they used to come to me. And I remembered those 3 nurses. All of them were ready to throw in the towel. And as junior as I was, I still managed to talk to them, counsel them, and just give them a shoulder to lean on. And hug them and told them that it is going to be all right. And sincerely, I am proud to see where they are and what they are doing. So please don't be that nurse manager. My friend. Being a Hitler in the ward, acha nikwambie utaachiwa wagonjwa. But be that nurse manager who mentors, that manager who takes time to find out how are your staff really doing. Because at times you're being so hard on these nurses and you don't even know what they're going through. A lot has been said about nurses that are not positive, in fact, negative things. But there are very good nurses out there. There are wonderful nurses out there. There are brilliant nurses out there. Personally, I had my runoff with this particular in charge. And I also think when I was a little younger, I was a bit stubborn because I refused to take in her nonsense. You've been on night duty. By 11 o'clock, you're still in her office. She's still giving you a rundown on things that are not even your fault. In fact, I will share one scenario. I report on night duty. There's a report that a plastic surgeon was to be called to come and review a patient during the day. I have reported in at 7:30. We have taken our report. So by the time we are finishing our report, it's around 8:30 going to 9 for us to see our patients. Then we begin the night routine. So I got that report that this doctor was to come and review the patient. And I asked, by the way, this request was done at around 11 a.m. Why are you handing over to us at night? Are we going to call the plastic surgeon to come and review the patient at night? So I said, I'm not going to bother the patient, nor am I going to call the doctor at night, because I knew he would come during the day. So by 6 a.m., I call this doctor and I tell him, by the way, there was a request for you to come and review a patient in our ward. Said and done, finished. Hey, wacha madam aniamkie the following day. By the way, I didn't see why she was making noise. Sincerely, I didn't understand why she was rattling at me at that time. So I tell her, by the way, that request was made during the day. So me who is coming in at 7:30 at night, how is it my fault? And I've actually called the plastic surgeon. He's coming to see the patient. And she went on and on and on and on. And by the way, I switched off. So she was talking to me, I'm there, but I think in my mind, I'm already asleep on my bed. So she looks at me and she says, Rose, I can tell you've already switched off. And in my heart, I'm saying, of course, I've switched off. It's 11:30. I have to go home and come back on night shift. What time will I sleep? What time will I come back? So she tells me, go and write an incident form, and I go and I write exactly that. I was handed over a patient who was supposed to have been reviewed by 11 a.m. by a plastic surgeon. So I come in at 7:30. I just narrated that story on the incident form. So I think that even made her mad. So I give it to her and I go home. And I knew that the battle lines had been drawn. And I just went back to what I told God as we were coming to that word, that Father, I am not leaving. If anybody is to leave, it is her who will leave. She has made so many nurses cry. She has made so many nurses leave their employment. I am not going to be part of the statistic. And for sure I wasn't. So I'm just trying to tell us this morning that if God has given you a position of leadership, lead with God's wisdom. Lead with God's knowledge and spirit. Guide, nurture, mentor. So my friends whom we were chatting with yesterday on Facebook, I just want to tell you guys, forgiveness is key. She hurt you, she made you feel the worst in your life. But forgive and move on. Because when you forgive, you allow God to bless you more. You may think you have reached, but you still have a long way to go. God's blessings are still many, and they are just waiting for you. Forgive her and move on. I forgave and I moved on. In fact, I just remembered yesterday as we were going through that trail. So you guys, please lead with God. Be good leaders. And not only nurses, whoever you are and you're in a position of leadership, lead with love. Lead. You're not a dictator. You've just been given an opportunity to lead. And sometimes it's not that you even know better than them anyway. So please, just be a good leader. Today I just wanted to challenge you on that. Be a good leader. Because when it comes to HRs, the best HR I've ever had, she's called Susan Bather. She was my HR at Nairobi Women Hurlingham branch. Wonderful and beautiful soul. She's an HR, but she loves her work. She will not send you out of her office. She will lock the door. She will listen to you. She built so many of us. Or she built me. So be good leaders. Be good managers. And God will lift you higher. Stop breaking children of God. Stop breaking people's spirit. Stop breaking people's self-esteem. That is not what you are given that position for. Am I communicating? I pray so. So please, be good leaders. I just wanted to tell us that this morning. Be a good leader. Be a good manager. Some of us don't need to shout, but things are done. So please, don't shout at people. Don't shout at nurses. They already have a lot on their shoulder. Tumeelewana? Good day.